About 15 years ago, I discovered yoga, and I went to India for the first time. And the main memory I have from that experience is before I arrived in India, I was quite sure that I would be confronted by what I saw. I prepared myself for seeing bleak misery and poor people suffering, because we are from the West and we are much better off. Want me to speak closer? Yeah? Okay. Namaste. So I prepared myself for the worst, to see people suffering in poverty. And then when I went to India, it was different. I was confused, and actually for a little while I was upset. Why is everyone here happier than I am? This is confusing. These people, they have a very small homes, one bedroom only, shared resources, but they are all smiling, happy in the street. In fact, even the animals are more happy. In the warm sun, under a tree, there is a dog, a cow, another dog, all laying together, enjoying each other's company. Even the animals are more happy than we are. And so that started me on the journey of yoga. I was glad to go there to India very, very early in my journey. One moment. I have a crutch. So my presentation today is continuing on from that anecdote around our good fortune, our luck, and the opportunities that are available to us. Bhagavad Gita, as you know, says that the greatest fortune is to be born in a time or a family or a culture where yoga can be learned easily. To have access to high-quality teachers is a vital privilege. And only under these circumstances can human life reach its fullest expression. And in this modern age of not only airplane travel, but now information access and widespread affluence and wealth in many parts of the world, well, many of us now experience this situation of privilege that used to be quite rare. While the ruinous effects of war still occupy our awareness, and the mythology of Kali Yuga might tempt us to indulge in catastrophic imaginings, nonetheless, a sober view on our present moment reveals tremendous good fortune and opportunity. We have experiencing an unprecedented level of data access, instant access, video conferencing, and we can commune now with the great masters from India and other places around the world. Similarly, the playing field has become leveled for marginalized people and cultures all around the world. Those who are in need, those who are suffering in poverty or in war, have a louder voice. The world can see quite clearly, in real time, the conditions of their lives, and this brings hope for their future. More than ever, people on earth are finding favourable conditions for the practice of yoga and thus liberation from illusion. And we should, it behooves us to recognise this state of affairs. My talk today is on achieving organisational excellence through spirituality. And I will refer specifically to some phrases from the text Yoga Vasishta. Now, is the AV set up for my PowerPoint slides?
Is PowerPoint ready?
It's okay if not. Oh, yeah. Right. It is not too important if it is. Yoga Vasishta. Yoga has come to mean many things. The word yoga means many, many things in this world, but only a small amount of study, and in fact listening to the sessions yesterday, reveals the central meaning of yoga. Yoga is the non-dual state, Advaita, and it is also the process of attaining that state. The non-dual state is associated with a cessation of mental fluctuations. It is the settling of arguments. Thank you. It is seeing things from all points of view. It is peaceful inclusion and acceptance. And the term yoga also refers to practices that lead us to that non-dual state. In moral guidelines, behavioural guidelines, physical techniques that balance our strength and our flexibility, as well as acts in consciousness, acts of concentration in consciousness that lead us to the state. Yoga Vasishta states that all of reality, the visible and the invisible, the past and the future and the present, all exist upon the one substrate of absolute consciousness. Just as the uncarved image is forever present in the block, the apparent world, whether you regard it as real or unreal, is in fact inherent in the absolute. So our personal bodily sensations, our perceptions, our experience of the world is a filtered view of reality. And the filter is called Maya. It is the lens that we place over the whole to have this dualistic sensory life experience. All these forms, all these reflections, objects, people, progressions through time that we experience are but fragments of the whole. Next slide, please. Vasishta says, for only as long as Maya is not clearly understood is this delusion of separate existence generated. Once Maya is understood, it is seen as the infinite, and this understanding, this view becomes the source of happiness and realization of absolute consciousness. Now, I'll note that living this life that we exist in right now, this dualistic experience, was and is our choice. The principle of divine providence means that all wishes come true. All things begin in consciousness, and therefore everything that exists was once wished to exist. The next slide, please. Yes. All the powers that are inherent in the mind and by which the world has been brought into being are found in infinite consciousness. Hence, the sages have declared that the mind is omnipotent. Now, our wish that was granted to experience a life of duality, separation, comparison, pleasure and pain, all these forms, it was wished and has come to pass. And having defined yoga now and the non-dual state, having clarified that a choice was made and granted, having said all of this, how then shall we live in society and how shall we act in business? This is the step that is difficult to make. We all enjoy reading these sacred shastra at bedtime, in the night time. It gives us good dreams in the evening. But how then do we wake up and take it into business and apply yoga in business and in society? This is the divide that is so difficult. O Rama. Next slide, please. O Rama, they who are infatuated with the diverse worldly affairs in pursuit of pleasure and pain, wealth and influence, no longer even think to explore the truth, which they obviously do not see. Here, Vasishta explains that it is lust for the dualistic experience, forms and emotions, that prevents access to the non-dual state. The kleshas poison our experience of yoga. Our sadhana, therefore, is to wean the mind and the lifestyle away from raga, dvesha, cravings, individualistic thought. Vasishta says, whatever there is to be enjoyed has already been enjoyed. Whatever there is to be seen has already been seen. What else is there in this world that a wise man should seek? Well, a wise man must save himself and the people around from drowning in the ocean of illusion. Vasishta highlights in his work a crucial intermediate step on the spiritual path. He says that a wise man may see both the whole truth and the narrow illusion. This intermediate step is vital so that we may pursue the path without neglecting our personal story. Since we created this personal story, we should attend to it rather than avoid it or neglect it. And it is possible to actually see both at the same time. When we see both at the same time, we live a good life. And then, when the time is right, we can step into the exclusively non-dual state, kaivalya, without the burden of compulsive actions or unmet desires that would lead us into automatic rebirth. Vasishta says, "Live as the sages of self-knowledge live. They know both the infinite consciousness and the material world. Hence, they neither relish nor renounce activity in this world." So I have said a couple of times already, we are here for a reason. It is our choice. It is our decision, even if we don't remember making the decision. However, some of us do remember making that decision. And for some people, the play of Leela, the unfolding of karma, may involve running into the forest and abandoning the family and the worldly duties. But most people would feel that to be something of an incomplete life. There is a tale to tell. And the satisfaction of building things, building families, building organisations, building gardens, helping trees grow, running things, maintaining things, and then passing them on to others is a common narrative that resonates with most people. So in this we see the purpose, the real purpose of the arts, of culture, community services that are provided by governments and others. Here is the real value of industry, beyond feeding our families and securing our retirement. Truly, the form, the beauty of the form, and the magnitude of the paycheck is but a byproduct of something greater. So, let our journeys be exciting and virtuous. Let us direct our passion to the task of seeing the unified whole in addition to the material plane. Success in this endeavour is measured by living in a way that exemplifies high conduct, truth, generosity, discernment, playfulness. Such characteristics benefit all of the people around us, our families and strangers. And perhaps, if we acknowledge the Pancha Kosha model, those activities benefit people far away from us who we will never meet invisibly. It sounds good, right? But perhaps it is not so easy to accomplish in reality. It is frequently observed that people who excel in business affairs, even if they come from humble beginnings, sometimes, maybe often, become fixated on that success and on their creations. After the first $1 million is earned, well, what then? Another $1 million, I guess. More power, more finance, I guess. It may be difficult to resist. Again, no matter how humble or spiritual the beginnings, it may be difficult to resist the adulation of people, the congratulations, the awards from governments and charitable organisations, the admiration of those who would desire our wealth or to be like us. So success can foretell a spiritual slip. This cliche around the higher one rises, the further one has to fall. Next slide, please. Vasishta says, "What else is left of a greedy man than a handful of ashes? He who looks upon the world as no more than a blade of grass never comes to grief." Grasping and hoarding are antithetical to the non-dual state. Use this life, we must, as sincerely as we can. We waste no energy, but remember that everything that will exist does exist. Our perception of linear time and ownership of objects is Maya. To grab at something or to fear the loss of something demonstrates that you have forgotten the truth of Advaita. Next slide, please. If an illusory object vanishes, what is lost? How can it be destroyed? Why would one grieve? It is more proper to feel unhappy at prosperity, in fact, for such prosperity may intensify one's ignorance, Vasishtha says. So remember, it was your choice to be here. You have that power. You have the power to be born in a human body. You can change your views. You can change your mood. You can change your beliefs. Maya is your power. If you remember that she is. If you forget that she is your power, then she is no longer your power. All phenomena is within you. When we practice yoga in this way, when we demonstrate yoga in this way, we can proceed successfully in business, the arts, and the evolution of civilization in a way that leads us to liberation rather than addiction. We must acknowledge that all objects are within us, and this includes people and animals, as we have heard speakers yesterday present. We must behave in a manner that creates, empowers, integrates. We must assemble and grow the pieces that we have access to in consciousness, work with the illusion of time and space, knowing that we can willfully steer reality far further than Western materialistic science understands. Please do not trade the metaphysical knowledge of Bharat for the naivety of the West. Be so bold as to enhance the lives of others simply through actions in consciousness. The siddhis are real. They are accessible now. We all already use the siddhis. The power of suggestion, concentration. The power of the word, be it spoken or otherwise. In business, as in yoga teaching, the guru knows when and how to apply pressure to a student or patience to a student. And so too, we can act this way with our customers, with our staff. When we apply the metaphysics of mutual benefit, non-duality, rather than living piecemeal, transactionally, then the cities naturally flourish. We act in an altruistic manner, the best we can in any moment. None of us are perfect in this human realm, but we can try the best we can in any moment. And when we act with altruism, with awareness that this human body is temporary, is smaller than the full body, this is akarma. Actions with akarma may look like worldly charity, but it is much more. There is justice here. We unravel the harm previously done. Truly, we must ask ourselves, once we have fed our family, once we have secured a comfortable retirement, then should we not spend all of our efforts, all of our energy, press our career and our business into service for others? Next slide, please. This one, I think of Dr. Vikrant when I read this one. Enlightened men, although they are constantly active, they do nothing from personal motive. It is certainly not by apathy or neglect that they reach transcendence, though. It is action devoid of personal motive that frees you from karma. For there is no harvest when there is no sowing. We must do the right thing as best as we can determine in any moment. We must integrate and heal each other and ourselves. We must face the truth of colonial history, the dispossession and despair that has occurred to us and by us, even with the world's unprecedented multiculturalism, wealth, travel and education, still now we see groups and individuals perpetuating harm upon others and recommitting the harm that was once done to them. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Namaste. Vasishta says, ignorance expands by means of ignorance, and it yields greater ignorance. When Kundalini turns and rises, it seeks wisdom. It feeds on wisdom, and it grows into greater wisdom to the end. So we have activism as a key theme here. We must activate our energies. We must turn the downward-facing tendencies, the materialistic and selfish tendencies around so that they become invested in the success and the prosperity and the happiness of the entire planet. Since all of this planet is within ourselves anyway. It is self-serving and it is generous and altruistic at the same time. Cultural leader, a true warrior for civilization, he realizes the chain of suffering. He breaks the cycle. Such a person is brave enough to forgive past cruelty, generous enough to surrender their prizes and property so that magic can occur. Next slide, please. Oh, go back one. Go back. Yeah. Okay, last one. So Vasishta says, only he who is not complacent with his own virtue can be considered a true human being. He who is filled with the milk of human kindness surely resides in the absolute consciousness. And look, I'm coming to a close here. All of these shastras, all of these sutras, all of these epithets are intended to be used now, here, not only as a comforting salve when you're falling asleep, but when you wake up, right now, you may feel as though it is impossible or that you are insufficient for the task, but your bhakti, your sankalpa, the best you can employ in any moment is all that is expected of you, the duties, the human duties that we have. When the famous citta vritti nirodha is attained in a practical day-to-day sense, we have infinite potential for growth, unity, and accord. Things may seem slow, and even though we see those examples of corruption and misdeed occurring, our civilization is yet developing as one whole entity in real time in a manner unseen before. It is quite thrilling and fascinating. And to me, Kali Yuga simply represents increasing population in the world. And we can recognize this without fear, without superstition. We can work here in this space without complacency. There are many more yogis existent in the world right now, and they just aren't in the caves so much. They're in the cities. And even if the depth of education of those yogis is not quite what it used to be, nonetheless, the sheer quantity of sincere teachers enjoying this play, having access to the masters of the Indus Valley and the Himalayas, well, we can lift each other up, we can write our stories, and we can lift the planet into a Satya Yuga. And maybe this shift is already commenced. Maybe it's just around the corner. Maybe it starts today. Thank you.